We're live and recording.
Okay. What did she say? We're live.
All right. You ready to start? Anyone here? Else here? Okay, let's call the meeting to order. Whoa, that's a hot microphone. You know, I was just pointed out to me that Zach is always here helping his lovely bride at just about every meeting. So thank you so much. Hey, thank you for everyone being here tonight. Mr. Brown, what happened?
It was just the thing to do with my students, so.
I love it. All right, well, we'll wait until Dr. Neal comes back from fixing the microphone. Everybody enjoy the little bit of rain today? Kind of fell all between Florissant and Woodland Park. I was hoping for some at our house.
Yeah, not enough.
There was a lot of lightning though to the north earlier today.
You were just complimenting Zach. Zach, may I beg your assistance, sir? Sounds good. Can you try your microphone again? Is it still pretty hot?
I'd be happy to try my microphone, shall we say?
If you have speakers behind you, if you point it more down a little.
Down?
Yeah, not down, that's like straight, would be a little better.
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because those are the speakers up in the ceiling.
Oh,
Get back from.
Yeah, they're gonna work on it. So
All right.
in the meantime, we're gonna stand way back.
it just rings. Thank you. I think that's a little better, don't you?
Who knows where the adjustments happen.
Yeah.
Better.
Okay, meeting is called to order, and Mr. Austin is our secretary this evening, so roll call, Mr. Austin.
I think what we need is a motion to approve the agenda. And then we can get a second on that, do a roll call. And then we can move.
Not do roll call first. Okay,
Well, Chris has probably got it in his notes that we're all here.
all right, good.
But I will make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second to approve the agenda?
Second.
Roll call.
Billy Moore,
Aye.
Patterson,
Hi.
Lester Holt,
Aye.
Austin, aye.
All right, we have approval of the agenda. For tonight, we'll be discussing a timeline. The reason I wanted to call for a timeline for this is, and to have the board discuss it, is because I was getting so many requests from the community to wait longer, to speed things up. Let's get this done. Let's hold off. And I was sensing the same from the board, so I thought it would be prudent that we just all come together, discuss the timeline, and for Merit Academy's vote on on their contract of chartering, and also discuss, excuse me, and then discuss the joint use of the building. So with that, I would like to open it up and discuss for discussion. Who would like to go first?
Just tell me, like, what do we have on the calendar right now? Is that what?
Dr. Neal.
Members of
Yes.
the board, this is what has in fact been posted to the website. It was originally posted on April 29th, as far as the schedule. And then it was modified, looks like the 9th.
Right, because we weren't able to post the charter quite when we wanted. And so when it did get posted, we pushed back the town hall to give everybody that at least full 7 days. And it's actually a bit more like 10 days or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we need to basically see if we can set a vote that would happen sometime after May 18th, after the town hall.
That's correct. Well,
Currently, that's scheduled. It's not scheduled.
Right, we don't have a schedule.
so we revised and revised, but originally conversation was that we would have the town hall meeting a hearing would be more accurate, because the law does require it to be a hearing from the town, that we do take comment from the public, which is set up on the website right now to take written comment, that we would have a moderator for that. So all of those things.
Just put it far away. That's right.
All right.
He's on his knees down there trying to figure it out.
So one of the things that I was most concerned about is that we do have plenty of time for public interaction and comment. Now, I think since we have had the Merit contract out there for public review, when was that originally released to the public through the website?
Last Monday, right?
Right.
So last Monday. Today is 8 days then.
7.
I mean, if you count Monday, the last Monday, if you count it, it's 8 days. Today's
Okay.
8 days.
And then the District Accountability Committee had a full meeting on the review of that contract last Tuesday night as well.
Right.
So the DAC there will be one more district accountability discussion tomorrow night.
Correct.
The DAC wanted to get together for that. And that the DAC will be doing a presentation at, do you want to go over that?
I didn't know that
Chris,
it was
or
a presentation, but I think there was a discussion with the District Accountability Committee. How do they communicate back to the board, either through Chris as the one member that's there, Mr. Brevetto is no longer there, obviously, or what do they want to do with that? And so I think that's the DAC's business to kind of navigate that tomorrow night. What do they feel? How do they want to do that? They could do it in a letter to the board. They could do it in a written statement to the board. They could be so all over the place that they couldn't come to a consensus. I mean, or they could be all in consensus. I mean, there's just a lot of ways that the DAC is advising, and truly that's the purpose of the DAC, is the variety of those perspectives to come together and to give advice.
I've never heard of a DAC advising on a contract itself before, though.
It's pretty common with the charter school process to pretty well always go through the DAC.
For the contract or for the initial application?
Well, I think there's a discussion of which one of those we're at right now.
Okay.
So I think
But what did they look like? What did they look at already? The contract?
they have the contract, that's correct.
Yes. They reviewed the contract that was agreed on by Merit, for us and Merit.
Yeah. I'm just
So
saying.
the DAC is part of that timeline when the board considers, hey, so next Wednesday, this Wednesday, we're going to blink and it's going to be Wednesday. The board needs to make a decision on what other pieces of information you need to be able to make the decision on the contract.
Okay. I think we should just set the vote for Thursday, like 6 p.m. on Thursday. DAC will have had 2 looks at it, even though DACs don't normally review contracts. We will have had the town hall, and we'll have had months of public comment and multiple public meetings and executive sessions on it. So just set it for Thursday.
Mr. Vice President, one point of clarification, if I may. Your resolution would need to be posted for 24 hours as part of that open records. And so the resolution, we resolve as a board to approve or not approve, or to review or not, so I contacted the attorney today. She's drafting that, and her only caution was that you would need to post that resolution to the afternoon, or basically the afternoon of the meeting of the town hall.
Okay.
So, but
I mean, a resolution is like 5 lines, so there should be plenty of time for her to get it done. So, okay.
so you're saying we need to have a resolution that we will be voting on the Merit Charter School contract?
Well, and my understanding is that it should be and I don't have Melissa here on speed dial, but that the decision would need to be in that resolution.
The decision, well, we have to vote before we get a decision.
Correct.
Well, you would draft a resolution and the vote would be on the resolution. So you could have a resolution approving, I mean, you could have 2 alternative resolutions.
Good.
and you could post them both 24 hours before the meeting, a presumed meeting on Thursday. And then we would bring them up for a vote and vote for one and against the other, presumably.
There was a timing technicality, is all I was addressing with the.
Yeah.
I'm usually not confused, but I just need clarification.
No problem.
So we have, are you saying we need two resolutions? One that would deny or vote against the charter, and one that would vote for the charter?
I don't know that I would necessarily think to, I think the board could
Yeah,
pick one direction or the other and vote on it.
I mean, yeah, because the more I think about it, because I had looked at the law recently, and essentially, well, if you deny a charter application, you do have to state in writing your reasons for doing so, and the board previously did that in December of 2020. But I think so I kind of think, actually, it does sound like you would kind of be well served to have two alternative resolutions, one approving and one denying, because then you would satisfy the law that if you deny it, you state in writing why you're denying it.
We would not have had a chance yet as a board to select the reasons for denial. That would be the only challenge.
So you could deny it and then draft the reason for denial based on what's stated at the meeting, I suppose.
You could also go into executive session to review the contract and reasons for that.
Yeah.
And draft that denial, or because in the eyes of the acceptance, you would not have to give reasons for the acceptance.
Yeah.
It would just be accepted.
But you do need to give reasons for the denial.
That is my understanding.
Yeah, it's like the law is written in a way to make sure that a charter applicant gets a fair hearing and is informed of why they're being denied, because they could potentially appeal it to the state board. So the reasons given by the board for the denial could have legal consequence going forward. My understanding of what's going on there. So, David, assuming that the attorney could have a resolution ready within the legal requirements of the Open Meetings Act, assuming that, I would say let's just do it on Thursday.
Okay. Any other discussion on that?
Yeah, I have a clarifying question, because I'm hearing the phrase approval of the charter and approval of the contract kind of being interspersed. And can you bring clarity to me? Because my understanding is that the MOU essentially established Merit as a charter. And we are actually being asked to make a decision on whether Woodland Park School District is going to be the authorizing district for that charter. So this is where it gets confusing, because I think we're using terms that I know for myself, I'm confused sometimes. Like, can someone please state whether we're voting to charter Merit Academy, or are we voting on the contract that authorizes WPSD to be the district that oversees that charter?
Mr. Author of the MOU.
You have already authorized the charter.
Thank you.
The terms of that relationship are contained within the contract. So while you've already authorized the charter, you would now be approving or denying the terms of that contract. If you denied those terms, the contract illustrates that the charter school could go through the process of a standard application for a chartering process. So they would just have to have it done by the deadline in the fall, and the authorization journey would begin. Not dissimilar than what we've done this spring with the contract.
Right, and we have to recall, as was discussed publicly at several meetings, either with Tom Weston or with Tim Farmer and Brad Miller, So we talked about the transfer process and that the law that, the board went through last time when they, filled out the application and went through the DAC review and got all those comments and the independent examiner, that was intended for a school that didn't exist, that was just on paper. And that's why when we talked with Tom Weston about, well, CSI does transfer in charter schools that already exist, and Merit, although not called a charter school under the law, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck as a contract school authorized by ER BOCES. And so that's how we had formulated, like, well, we're going to do something a little bit different. And Tom Weston said, yeah, CSI does that. And Tim Farmer and Brad Miller had also said, yeah, you can do it otherwise, but there's no statute outlining like that transfer process. But it is done because you've got these schools that are in operation and you're simply switching over the charter authorization from one body to another. So that's the process that we're going through. And it's been a long time since we've had those conversations, and we've had lots of conversations on other aspects related to this and everything. But so I think that's what we're doing. And now that's why it's time to go ahead, and we've got this contract that's been out there, and we just need to determine whether we want to vote to accept it or not. And I guess on doing that, you sign a resolution, and then would the president then like sign the actual charter as well, or?
That's a curiosity. I'd have to find that out.
I mean, it'd be a ministerial act at that point.
If you guys don't mind, before we set a date for voting on the contract, because we're discussing both timelines, can I get a sense of your timing on the contract or, potential approval denial of the facility use agreement as well? And so we have the big picture here of timing. And I would like to do that before we decide on a particular date, whether that's Thursday or next Monday or.
So I do need to throw a monkey wrench in there.
Yeah.
Director Austin, I did receive council's message this afternoon that you will be required to go to another executive session on that document.
I was going to suggest we do that anyway.
Yeah.
Because
On the facilities.
on the facilities agreement,
That's correct.
not the charter, but the facilities agreement, and make sure that we have something that we all have a sense of, because we want to post that publicly as well. And last time it wasn't complete. And so I imagine that would be important to make sure it is complete, whether from council or if Miles or Brian or superintendent have other things to add. So that was my thinking, Chris, on the facilities agreement. Just we should have another executive session and then post it publicly and then figure out when's the right time to vote on it. Hopefully we could make that determination on the date we post it so that we can let the public know, hey, there's, our goal is to have a meeting at least 7 days after the facilities draft is posted, and go from there. What do you think, Chris?
You may be back into a back and forth discussion with your tenant, and that will also slow things down.
As I understand, they just received that this afternoon, or they just returned it with comments today?
I would like to reserve that for the attorney's discussion.
All right.
Okay, so maybe we know we need to have another executive session. Maybe we should just focus on setting a date for a vote on the charter.
Do you have any idea of when the facilities use agreement will come back from the attorneys?
We have it back.
Say it again.
We do have it back as of this afternoon at 4:00.
Is there any reason that we can't set a meeting to review?
You would need to check with Melissa's schedule. Council's presence will be necessary for that. And so if you'd allow me to find out what that is, and early part of next week, see if we can get that going.
So
Do you see that happening before Monday?
I don't see Melissa joining in on the conversation before Monday.
Right. So the hinge pin then for the facility use is the approval or denial of the contract. So that feels like first step, of course. Second step then being move forward with the facility use agreement. If we're not gonna have a facility use agreement conversation with our attorney prior to Monday, do you imagine that then it wouldn't really change anything if we were to push out, get the comments from the public on the 18th, give ourselves some time to think through what we've heard, give ourselves some time to process, and then meet on the 23rd, which is Monday.
Well, the 23rd, I'm sorry, the 23rd is,
Awards
there's,
ceremony. Yeah.
there's athletics award ceremony here at the school.
So it would,
So I was hoping to be able to go to that. Then the 24th is the meet and confer all day. Then the 25th is a work session.
the night of the 25th.
Could we do both? Could we have the executive session after we have
Yes, you could.
an opportunity to vote on the contract with Merit?
Well, when are we gonna fit our regular board meeting in this month?
On the 25th.
Now we're talking about doing a work session, executive session, regular board meeting, and,
We could throw in a special meeting as well if you would like.
I mean, all those would essentially happen on the evening of the 25th.
It'll be, yeah, we need to do consent agenda and we have several business items that came off last week. So,
I mean,
and let me defend staff just a little bit. I know there was comment in the public about why did we not go ahead and just have staff do their regular business meeting last week? Well, it takes staff about 7 days to pull all of their stuff together, making sure they have all of their presentation materials, getting into the board 5 days in advance. And so that meeting was slated for a town hall only. And when it was canceled on Monday, that gave staff less than 48 hours to try to pull all of those pieces together. So those pieces are scheduled the night of the 25th for a regular business meeting.
I think that counsels towards putting the Merit Charter on its own agenda so I think we should go back to the idea of doing Thursday.
We have Thursday, we have Friday for that following week, which feels pretty full.
The only other thing would be to have a 4 o'clock meeting. Change the hour, or a 5 o'clock meeting.
What day are you talking about?
Well, if you were talking about Monday, the award ceremony begins at 6 PM.
I can't take that much. I've got Tuesday off for the meet and confer.
You could also do Tuesday evening as well. Just exclusively for the contract.
For the contract, we've switched from the facility use agreement to contract signing
It's contract decision. The
or
board
decision. That's what I mean.
needs to make a decision one way or the other on the contract.
You're good with,
What?
say, the 19th?
I choose the 19th.
What are your thoughts on the 19th, Sue?
To vote on the contract.
And David, you want to do it on the 19th?
Yeah, next week is pretty full between the regular meeting, the academic award ceremony, and a new executive session on the facilities
On the
thing.
facilities.
That's the next time.
Friday, I cannot do it.
So can you do the 19th then?
I have the 19th available, yes. But since we're bouncing back and forth with the facilities use agreement, we need to have a discussion of we need to review that in executive session. Once we approve that, we need to leave that for public for at least for a week, 7 days. But I was thinking we would have a town hall meeting about that so we can get feedback from the public in the same way. Is that necessary to do it? It just seems like it would follow, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that want to respond to that.
It's not necessary. there's nothing in the law requiring us to post a facility use agreement 7 days out and have a town hall on or anything. It's unique in the charter realm that the law does require that sort of public hearing and things like that. It's not necessary on a facility use agreement. And I think, we've had debates sometimes about whether the board even has to vote to approve a facility use agreement because the superintendent's contract makes him the chief administrative officer. He does act subject to board approval or at the board's direction, but generally under board policy and administrative policy, the superintendent's reasonable interpretation of a policy is good to go. So there's some play in the joints about whether this is the sort of thing, and it feels to me like it's important enough that we should have a board vote on this one, but
I would agree. In talking to council today, we pulled out facilities use policies and looked at temporary use versus long-term use and contemplated the magnitude of this decision as not requiring the board, but healthy for the board to participate in.
And a good comparison and contrast was the decision to close the pre-K classes that were held like at Summit and Combine and combine them all over at Gateway. That wasn't done with any town hall or, posting the plan 7 days ahead of time. I don't even think there was a board vote on an action item for that particular thing, right? And I think that was in the works before you joined the district, right, sir?
Right. It would be an administrative function, but there is a strong value in letting the community climb on the bus with you and
Right.
travel the journey and kind of hear the thinking from different perspectives.
And that thinking has long been embodied in the way we've approached this, which is why we had the town hall at the middle school
Correct.
on the entire concept of merit sharing the middle school. When did we do that? In March or?
Yes.
It was like in
End of March.
1990. I mean, it's
It was a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
But the big takeaway that came out of that was let's have cooperative strategies do the feasibility study on this idea because we thought that yourself and Ms. Cassins and Principal Goings and the rest of that team, and we heard from a bunch of them, there was this plan and there was a map and really it was a product of, a lot of work from the professionals at the school district. But the big takeaway that we got away from that was let's have this outside consultant who's already doing stuff in this area take a look at this. And we did that. We had that meeting, 2 weeks ago with Susan Miller and
right. Something like that.
that was a pretty thorough review with a lot of questions from board members and everything. I think all of us had questions for Ms. Miller. So I would say, right, it's not legally required, but it is healthy. And we've had that discussion over many months and more than one meeting. So I would say, I think, David, it's definitely in the spirit of what we've been trying to do to, once we have a facilities agreement kind of settled from our perspective, to post it out there and let the public know this is going to be reviewed, well in advance, like a 7-day advance, more than the 24 hours potentially necessary, if it even is. But the law only requires 24 hours notice for a setting of agenda and notice of a meeting. Get it out there in a week, kind of like we've done with the charter contract, but then have a vote. And I don't think there's a need for a third town hall on that particular use agreement.
I'm just trying to remember back at that meeting when we were going over things, if I had said that we would set a town hall for that.
I mean,
I'm just trying to remember if.
I don't recall.
I hear what you're saying, and I don't disagree with that it has been out there. We've really had that conversation, but I don't remember if I said we would have, once the facilities use agreement was in place, that we would have another public comment in regard specifically to the agreement. I don't know. Is there a way to look back and see if I said that?
There would be.
Because
Yeah, if we looked at the minutes of
Yes, I
various
recorded the
meetings.
entire conversation. I recorded the entire meeting.
okay, thank you.
If you give us some time, we could track that down as well.
Yeah, because if I
And
said
we
it,
may have to go back to the entire meeting recording to do that, but we can do
It'll-
that. But I would also caution the board right now that I don't see a clear pathway right now on the facility use agreement until you all have a chance to speak with council.
throw something else in there, we have a ticking clock on appointing a new director as well.
Right.
So, I mean, we add all that to the mix.
You also have an end of the year budget to complete in the next 4 weeks as well.
Well, David, what do you say to,
The contract,
let's set the 19th for a vote on the charter, and it sounds like there's more to come on the facility use agreement.
okay, so Sue and Dave, you are for the 19th. What are your thoughts?
My thought is, I'm gonna have 24 hours to assimilate a lot of information that I hear from the community. That being said, I believe that I'll have clarity on the 19th. I don't think I need to actually process any new information. I think I'll just be processing what I hear on the 18th. That being said, my preference would be to have a little more time. I would be able to assimilate the information that I hear on the 18th by the 19th. So
Are we ready to take a vote on the date of the vote on the contract
I think so.
for Merit Academy?
So are we saying that we're not gonna further discuss the facility use agreement?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
You can
I'm
still
just,
discuss it.
we can still discuss it. I'm just talking about, we could clear one item off of here and vote on the
Because the
date for the.
motion here is to approve an anticipated timeline, and I don't know what you have there.
Vote on timelines associated with potential approval or denial of the Merit Academy contract and potential approval or denial of facilities use agreement.
Those would probably be two separate items in this agenda.
That's how I anticipated we would have two separate votes on that. That one would be.
I don't think
Contract.
the timeline is, I mean, honestly, when it comes to the facility use agreement, there's a variable in there that we cannot actually establish a timeline on that because it involves our attorney. So I would say that that's probably not actually on the table right now. I would say we can task Dr. Neal to simply coordinate with our attorney so that we can have an executive session to discuss that facility use agreement. I would imagine that would happen probably sometime next week. But there's a variable there that we can't actually
Right.
establish a timeline.
Well, and we have this, it does say potential approval of the facilities use agreement on May 25th. We could certainly vote that timeline should be amended to say that their anticipated executive session on the facilities use agreement, May 25th.
I don't know that the board has to vote on any one of these timelines. It's just establishing the pleasure of the board.
Well, I just,
So to your point, you wouldn't have to amend the 25th. You just would have to give me your opinion.
no, I know, but we anticipate this being posted to keep people informed on the website. So I would just suggest that we do change this timeline and post on the website that we anticipate having a, proposed executive session on the facility use agreement, May 25th.
And not, right.
Right, not a vote on it.
Propose that if possible. Go ahead, Chris.
So circling back around to voting on the contract, you say that there's some technicalities related to timing on this. Is with the resolution, is that correct? Is that what I'm hearing? Like if we were to have the hearing on the 18th and then we vote on the 19th, are you saying that there's a squeeze for that resolution to be drafted and posted with enough time?
Your draft for that resolution will be posted in advance or before the town hall meeting.
So the resolution could be, there's no reason it can't be posted tomorrow, I'm guessing.
That's right.
So
But
posted tomorrow, and then the resolution would be voted on the 19th.
that's right. My caution to the board, again, I'm just out there just putting out ideas. Everybody in this room has heard us have this conversation over the last 36 minutes. They've heard us marinate through these topics. The standard community member will not have heard that. So they will see you post a resolution to approve a charter school to be voted on the afternoon before you have the town hall meeting.
I think that would be a mistake.
That may appear as devaluing the town hall meeting.
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't even appear.
If folks didn't understand why that was posted,
Well, if it was worded properly, we're going to have this, and then after the information we gather at the town hall hearing, we would be voting. I don't know, it makes sense to me that maybe even that night, but I would not be willing to do it that night, that's for sure.
But how would you post a resolution for a potential denial?
You would-
Because it's all assumed then, the optics on it, it's all assumed that it's being approved.
It's just a vote to approve it, and if it fails, it fails. It's just a quirk in the law that you have to have a resolution to vote to approve, and if you don't vote to approve, then you're going to come together and create some other document in the future stating the reasons for denial. So it's just a quirk in the way that
so to be clear,
It's out
if
there.
the board voted not to approve Merit Charter Academy on Thursday night, the board would then be tasking the attorney to come up with a denial resolution that would then need to be posted for reasons why denied.
And it's not the case that setting a meeting on Thursday is to disregard public input on Wednesday. It's just we're required under law to give these sorts of advance notice. And the timeline is just getting short with what's happening next week and regular meeting having to be rescheduled and all that. So I think we should try and follow the law but also try and work with a little bit diligence.
Next week is just packed, and so is
It is.
this week.
And graduation
And graduation on Saturday.
So
And unfortunately, some people have to work.
if there's no further discussion, I'm prepared to make the motion for the 19th.
Well, like Dr. Neal says, there's probably no need for an actual vote on this. I mean, it's just
Just setting it.
a discussion. I mean, the reason why we're here is because typically we would have a discussion about timelines.
Yeah.
And we're not doing this via text streams, or we're not doing this over emails. We're not doing this in one-on-one conversations with you, Mr. Osterholz. We're doing this as a collective. So that's the reason why we're here tonight.
So you could express interest and we could make that happen.
Okay.
Then I would agree, looking at our schedule, then I would agree with the 19th.
Assuming the attorney can get it done.
Assuming that, and that it can be posted properly. But I think it is very important to make it clear to the public that we will be taking an up or down vote the day after the town hall meeting.
Duly noted. We'll expend some language to making sure that that's.
You know, another thing is that I've heard recently is that there are some people who don't go visit our website, so they don't know what's going on. Is it possible to put it on, to advertise on social media as well?
So we generally do not use social media for back and forth communication. And I have to be careful here because our social media expert is in the room. She puts a lot of time into social media. Our official site for posting information is our website. That's both described in policy, that's also registered with the state of Colorado. That's where we post our information legally. Every once in a while, Lindsay will put out like the questions we had for posting, asking questions. But social media is social. It's generally used for talking to the community about the great things that are happening. When it becomes a dialogue point, then it ceases to function as a social media outlet. You could also argue the same about Twitter, which is wildly unsuccessful, or where it's growing. And so which social media platform do we use? Instagram? So what the district has formally approved in policy is that we use our website for that information.
I hear you. I hear what you're saying. The community is very interested in this.
And they'll go to the website then.
Sure.
Then they should go to the website.
Yeah.
So I would tell you, we have.
But let me just finish what I was going to say.
Yes.
The community is very divided on this. They're very interested in this, and I want to make sure that everyone on this important of a thing, everyone has the opportunity to hear what is going on about the charter. We have very passionate people on both sides. I don't want people to miss out on this. I mean, that's my thought on it anyway.
We do have extensive development of FAQs, notes from minutes. We have a whole section on the front page of our website dedicated to the charter process. To Sue's point, if you really want to know about it, it's really on our website. It absolutely is. And yes, we can send emails out to our parents, and we can send emails out to our employees. But at some point, then people stop. I mean, this is a big topic, but we've just always landed everything on our website, and that's the official location.
And I mean, it might be the only time I ever disagree with Sue. Because I'm having a hard time thinking what would be the harm of mirroring what's on the website by having that link on Facebook or the pinned tweet on Twitter.
You end up with
Could drive people there.
Desensitization. They stop. It's like I can send an email out to staff every week, and this is what's happening with this scenario or that scenario. After a while, they stop getting read.
Yeah.
Well, then that's on them. At
It's
least
kind of
we
like
try.
survey fatigue.
Or you can direct it on Twitter, go to the website.
Yeah, I mean,
Facebook.
I do tend to, I mean, we all know how this works. I mean, you have a website, and now you have 5 different social media feeds, and then you got to put it on everything. It creates more work, and
It's a lot.
I know there's, on the one hand, it's kind of a never ending hydra that keeps sprouting new heads. On the other hand, people grow accustomed to that, and they're like, well, I follow Facebook all the time. I assumed something like this would be on Facebook. It was on the website. So
With all due respect, people need to grow accustomed to the website.
So Dr. Neal, I hear what you're saying. If I could please point you and your staff to the front page when it says recent news articles. There's nothing in here about,
There's a whole section dedicated to the charter school.
I'm looking on the front page.
Keep scrolling down.
you have to go below the news. It's the same thing with the school board vacancy. Like, I looked at the news too, Chris, and I was like, I don't see this. And then I emailed the superintendent, and he's like, well, there's a big box, and it has an apple. And I mean, I was laughing at myself that I didn't see it. But on the other hand, we're all making the same mistake, which is you kind of think it would be there. So
I'm not disagreeing website. It can be improved in the mechanism by which we post.
Yeah, but that's not the question for right now. The question for right now is, we've been accused of I personally have been accused of not being transparent enough. I want to do everything that I can to remediate that issue, and so that our board looks entirely transparent. And I think at least on this issue, we should go the extra mile.
That's fine. We can do that.
I'm with you on that one, David.
So in the recent news articles or whatever. Okay, I see, that's in the news. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, I see on the mobile app, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and even the anticipated timeline. So that's good.
I'm not seeing, because it's like tucked in the agenda for a deadline for 5:00 PM today for questions to be submitted.
That was put out on Facebook multiple times, contrary to my personal disposition. So that was put on the website last week. Additionally, it was put out again today, twice or 3 times.
I got you. All right, yeah.
So I went against my own, again, social media marketing. The questions have been out there on Facebook. And our friends across multiple domains have shared that information as well.
Did any emails go out about it?
Again, we generally use,
Okay, but did they or?
no.
Okay.
David, do you, anything else we need to talk about or should we?
No, I guess let's just summarize then. So the vote, in order of things, the attorney's going to have the resolution.
It'll be
We
posted.
will communicate it accurately to the public that after reviewing, after public comment on the issue, we will then be taking a vote, an up or down vote, basically on the chart, not on the chart, on the contract. Thank you.
And that's the day after.
The day after. But it needs to be communicated accurately.
Okay.
So then the next thing is we're waiting, so that is the public hearing on the 18th, then vote up or down on the 19th. So then the next thing is we're up in the air about when our executive session will be to review the final version of the facilities use agreement.
I would estimate the latest would be the 25th at our regular work session, our regular business meeting, which we're going to need to repost that as a regular business meeting because we will have business items.
Mhm.
That would also be a consent agenda or a executive session evening.
Okay.
So that's a week from this Wednesday.
Now, that might be an earlier meeting. If we
A
decide.
what meeting?
A 5 o'clock,
Earlier
a
meeting.
5 o'clock
If we wanted
executive
to have
session.
the exec session before.
Unless we want to spin the exec session off into its own thing, like,
I start getting into staff fatigue during that week. We're in the last week of the school year.
okay,
So if we could do a 5 o'clock rather than a 6 o'clock, that would be helpful to staff time.
yeah,
If we could do it, the attorney starting at 5 and executive session. And sometimes that works better because it also bookends you at 6 because you need to start your regular meeting.
okay. And probably we'd want to have exec session like later in the meeting because we don't want to inconvenience staff any more than we have to. Right?
Well, I was going to say having a 5 o'clock executive session before
Okay. Oh, yeah.
before the meeting started.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
Let's do that.
And then,
Because it gets late and
right, and I'm hearing that from the board. We don't want to go late. It's
on the 25th, executive session on the
Facilities.
facilities use.
right.
All right.
Okay.
Because we have the awards night on Monday. We have the, something else on Tuesday.
A large circle.
Large circle negotiations.
Meet and
We
convert.
don't have anything that night, though.
We have the middle school band concert. So the Neal family has something.
Can't miss that.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
So just to clarify, because I heard the word final. I'm assuming then that on the 25th, if we have an executive session with our attorney at 5 o'clock and we have to end it by 6, it may not be final. Even if we get through all the points that we want to get through, we have to volley it.
Right, it may not.
Good.
It may not be final, just to make sure that we're clear on that.
Well, and
Thank you, Chris.
yeah, and hopefully Melissa can send over, if she's gotten comments back from Merit, hopefully she can send those to us in advance of the executive session so we can have a sense of
We can work on that.
what's at play. Okay.
You as a board may not be in agreement on it, and that's that would be the discussion point of the 25th.
Sure.
Anything else?
Well, following that meeting then, or discussions, once we have a finalized facility use agreement, then that'll be published to the general public. And can you help me? How long did you say that we were gonna?
Well, if I did say, and I'm hearing that I did say,
And not
That-
so texted.
that I did say that there would be a 7-day. I think that I did say that, and I want to stay by I probably spoke, but anyway, if I said it, since I'm supposed to be the one to set the agenda, I would like to honor that.
You promised the town hall on that as well, by the way, via text to several people I've read.
Thank you, Kim.
Yeah,
So, Kimbrell,
Embryo.
I'll get it one of these days, I'm sorry.
So let's wait to the executive session that evening, if we could, for you all to determine that.
Okay.
Okay.
So we will see each other Monday night for awards, Tuesday for meet and confer, Wednesday for executive session, followed by regular business meeting. You'll have a full agenda presented to you Friday this week, getting ready for that regular business meeting. And then that leads also then into Memorial Day weekend, just for you to remember that 3-day weekend happens immediately following.
And then we have a director as well.
And then you have a director vote to do and a budget and several other big items.
Okay.
With the remembrance that the world of schools closes down in July. So you've got some work to do in June.
Thank you.
All right.
Anything else?
Anything, Sue?
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second,
Second.
roll call.
Illinois,
Aye.
Patterson,
Aye.
Westerholt.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned.
Please note the fastest meeting this board has transacted in 49 minutes.
Thank the Lord for that.
Have the posted, I keep going through it and not being able to find like when does the DAC meet and stuff.
Oh, well, let's talk offline now. I'm glad to give you that.